Now let us all settle in. Take a deep breath and move away from this decidedly secular space we're just inhabiting and enter in the sacred space of our service. And I'm supposed to take a deep breath now too. This reading is from Annie Dillard. The mockingbird took a single step into the air and dropped his wings. His wings were still folded against his sides, as though he were singing from a limb and not falling, accelerating 32 feet per second through empty air. Just a breath before he would have been dashed to the ground, he unfurled his wings with exact, deliberate care, revealing the broad bars of white, spread his elegant white banded tail, and so floated onto the grass. I had just rounded a corner when his insouciant step caught my eye. There was no one else in sight. The fact of his free fall was like the old philosophical conundrum about the tree that falls in the forest. The answer must be, I think, that beauty and grace are performed whether or not we will or sense them. The least we can do is try to be there. Annie Dillard. I light this chalice for all of us who let go of old ways and try something new. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its calling. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I'm Letting Go by Carol Almond Morton. Many of us carry a burden of worry, anxiety over the state of the world, worries about money, about our environment, our families, and about peace and justice. May we trust that nothing will get worse for us putting down that burden for a moment. May we let go of what weighs us down. May we find that we can set down worry for longer and longer periods of time. In our experience of letting go, may we be open to the possibility that we need not pick up our worries again. May we find passion and strength to work for change where we have the power to do so, and to let go where we do not. If not forever, let us put down any worries or anxiety for a moment of quiet. May we be in quiet together. May we open our hearts to grow our bonds of love and compassion in our High Plains church community, truly making this place a holy place of belonging. May it be so.
For that title. This first song is called Don't Let Go. It was a song that I had on an album called Promise of Portage. And it transitions into another song in an interesting way.
Thrown away all that you had, you melted down your golden calf. Now recognize what's worth the grab, and don't let go. That's your part. Smile if smiling is what fits, hanging from those stony cliffs. Sometimes all that you're left with is fingertips, but don't let go. And fearfully broken were made, and why is it goodbye is like our middle name, when all that we're left with is one thread of faith. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, hold on despite what life brings, and don't lose yourself in the order of things, because you're just like that kid on the swings. Don't let go. can find peace when all hope is gone. Will you just hold on? So when you're weary of turning that cheek, or stretching to make those ends meet, if you need to, you dig down real deep and don't let go. So the first person I played this song for many years ago was a guy named Phil Volman. He's a consummate guitar player, one of my favorite people in the world. He's also a practicing Buddhist. So every Wednesday night he would go to a sangha and they would meditate. And of course what they would meditate on was letting go. So it occurred to me that I'd actually missed the mark with the song, because Phil said, "Joe, don't you think it's all about letting go?" So I decided to write a second version of the song for him and his sangha. When you can't get your breathing just right, and your buttocks are sore because your hamstrings are tight, and you can't clear your mind, try as you might, just let go. You're regretting that last cup of tea, cause you're fighting the strong urge to be, and that fountain just trickles mercilessly. Just let go. I forgot the line. There is no right and no wrong, and your mantra sounds just like a drinking song. In breath is hold, out breath is on. Hold on, I mean let go. So when you can't quite achieve inner quiet, try going to Walmart, I bet you can buy it. Or better yet, just put more fiber in your diet. Just let go. Okay, a little round of applause for my daughter Katie. As I said, I thought I missed the mark with that song. But the reality of life is that oftentimes it is not an either or, it is a both and. There are times to hold tightly to something or someone, maybe with all the strength that you can muster. There are also times when letting go is appropriate and necessary. This reminded me of a story I heard many years ago, and some of you are familiar with it as well. I heard it as a Norwegian joke, but you can fill in your nationality of choice. Ole was walking down the mountains of Norway on his way to visit Lena, and he was thinking more about the supper she had planned than on where he was walking. All of a sudden he slipped and slid over the edge of a cliff beside his mountain path. About 20 feet down, with several hundred feet more to go, he frantically grabbed onto a bush that held. There he was, hanging by a bush above certain death, and his hands began to perspire. He screamed, "Is anyone up there?" "I'm here, Ole," came a deep voice from above. "Who's there? Can you help me?" Ole responded. The voice answered, "It is the Lord, Ole. Let go, and I will save you." Ole looked down, and he looked up, and looked down, and looked up again, and finally he yelled back, "Is anyone else up there?" I am convinced, like many of you, that Ole is right, and that I need to maintain control of my circumstances at all costs. Even if I sense God or my inner voice urging me to just let go, I'm usually convinced that this is probably a bad course of action. Clearly, life has also taught me that periodically, simply you must let go. A few years ago, and many of you remember this, I was working on a country album project with a local singer-songwriter named Stephanie Pauline. She's a truly amazing songwriter and vocalist, maybe not a great performer, but an incredible promoter. We cut this tremendous and expensive disc in Nashville, and we're making plans on how to approach obtaining a Grammy nomination. We had a booking agent who put together a 17-state tour, and it was a very exciting time. My wife was infinitely less excited than I was about this project.
After months of being torn in half between this career opportunity and my marriage, it was clear that I had to let one of them go. And I let the project go. And it was probably the right decision. I only say probably because the reality is that I will never know. It is very, very good to still be married, but it was awful to have to let go of that dream. I spent more than a year in severe depression, waiting for a silver lining. That silver lining has kind of materialized. Why tell you this story? Because honesty blesses honesty. The reality of life is that there are sometimes awful decisions that we have to make. Decisions we may make peace with someday, or we may regret for the rest of our lives. Sometimes you let go because you have no choice. Maybe Oli, after an hour of holding onto that branch, finally had to let go. One of the most difficult times a parent has to deal with is that stretch of adolescence, starting usually around 15 or so. For girls, sometimes earlier. For boys, sometimes later. But pretty much every parent with an adolescent thinks at one moment or another the following, quote, "If he or she says one more word in that tone of voice, I'm going to kill my child." The next song is a testimony to the fact that if you just hang on, or let go, as the case may be with your kid, things do in fact get better. Please welcome back Katie Uveges. This song was inspired by an interview with Warren Epstein. Warren is an old friend of ours, and he interviewed Katie and I for a radio program about 2 months ago. And he asked Katie how it was to be working with her dad after, kind of post-adolescence, and her response was,
"Well, I hate him a lot less than I used to." I was kidding.
we both looked at each other and we said, that's a song. Hang on.
Tuning, the bane of my existence. When I was in my teens, I admit that I was mean, but you were pretty idiotic too. You always gave me crap about my boyfriend or my tat, and after all this time I'd like to say to you that I hate you a lot less than I used to. Yeah, I sure hope that you agree that I hate you a lot less than I used to. I'm pretty sure it's you that changed, not me.
Seems like only yesterday you'd shoot me that sullen face, and I'd want to open up my mouth and swallow my gun. Glad to say I kept my wit, even though you're a shit. And after all this time, if I didn't love you, I always bit my tongue. But I hate you a lot less than I used to. I sure hope that you agree. Yes, I hate you a lot less than I used to. I'm pretty sure it's you that changed, not me.
I can see you mellowed out to the point where we might hang out at a bar together.
Yeah, but I still regret I didn't whack your boyfriend's Corvette with my sledgehammer. Maybe someday in my end you'll be changing my depends, and we'll laugh about all that we've been through.
Well, I hope that that's the case, cause if you die today, this is the best thing that I could say to you.
That I hate you a lot less than I used to.
Yeah, I sure
hope that you agree. Yes, I hate you a lot less than I used to. I'm pretty sure it's you that changed, not me. Yeah, I hate you a lot less than I used to. I think that you changed, and that's a fact. I could probably even tell you that I loved you if I crossed my fingers behind my back. So that song is not exactly a ringing endorsement of Katie's and my love for each other. But it most certainly is an endorsement of staying in a relationship through the tumult and the strife. Katie did eventually grow out of that stage of adolescence, finally. And I, in turn, stopped being the overprotective, idiotic dad, finally, that I was during her teens. We both, in fact, did change. We both let go of some part of ourselves that wasn't working in the relationship in order to come together in a more holistic adult way. It is not easy, though. Maybe you too are holding on to some part of yourself that doesn't work anymore. Maybe it's as simple as feeling you need to stop running to save your body the wear and tear on your knees. Jim Montgomery hiked Pikes Peak this week, his first 14er. He opted not to finish, completing 10 of his planned 14 miles. And with this simple decision, he has proven in my mind that wisdom does, in fact, come with age. Maybe you've decided to stop drinking alcohol because it just doesn't work for you anymore. I have pretty much stopped drinking, and I hate not drinking. I miss good beer terribly. I hate not being able to run as well. It hurts too much now to move, and I'm concerned that someday I'll regret all those miles. Maybe what you might consider letting go of is always being right. And when I say right, of course I don't mean right. This week, in reading the editorial page in the Gazette, I came across the Hispanic columnist Ruben Navarrete. Now, Navarrete in general is pretty progressive in his views, and I've been reading him for probably 8 years now. Something has happened to him, though, in the last 2 years, and I don't know if anybody else is familiar with this, but there's this general softening in him. It's a really interesting thing to watch. He generally writes on Hispanic news, but of late he's been writing on a bunch of other things. Anyway, in Thursday's paper this week, he said the following, quote, "Now that I have become more reflective on the far side of middle age, I've begun to think about the value of being wrong. And not just on the small stuff, but on the big things." He continues, "The small stuff is made up of things such as political issues and policy changes. For instance, I was wrong to oppose gay marriage in favor of civil unions, and to think that deportations were the solution to the immigration problem. So I've moved to the left on both those issues." He continues, "But I also was wrong to think that gun control would curb violence in society, and that abortion was solely about preserving a woman's right to choose. And I've begun to move right on those issues," end quote. The big things he speaks about, though, are the things that I found heartwarming. For example, he said that he was wrong to assume that hometowns were meant to be fled, and that you'd be happier if you left. He also said that he was wrong to believe that we should admire and praise those who achieve something instead of those who endure something. Think about that. When I think of all the people I know, including people from right here, people who are here today, who have suffered with illness, losses of homes, broken marriages, infidelities, children and parents who have died, mental illness, depression, bankruptcy. These things that we endure, that in some cases crush our capacity to achieve, these things shape us. As sure as the rushing water carved the Glenwood Canyon, they shape us. And we are changed, and maybe less beautiful than we were. But even scars can tell a story that can be lovely. But it means letting go of the, quote, lovely we were holding on to in our mind. I won't win a Grammy. I will never run 100 yards in less than 30 seconds. Jim Montgomery may never climb a 14er. But I will have coffee with my wife next Thursday morning. At Urban Steam, and we will laugh about the week that we shared / endured. And I will be very grateful for my life. We'd like to end with a song that is called Still Climbing, and again, Amanda's going to play with us and Katie will sing. And if you know this song, you're welcome to join us.
within. Climbing the mountain backward with poets and profiteers. Find a small child on your path. You carry them for just a few short years. You pass ancient temples, giant armies, and the castles we played in when we were only kids. Soaring eagles, fields of barley, this broken taxi is still climbing. Climbing the mountain backwards. You rip the soles out of your shoes. Ah, what the hell is life good for? If you can't learn to live with what you lose, you lose the temples, lose the armies, and the forests we played in when we were only kids. Soaring eagles, fields of barley, this broken taxi is still climbing. Captain, come in and give me fire on the way. 'Cause I'm fine, but not tonight. Tonight I'm burned out, but I'm climbing up the mountain, past ancient temples and the castles we played in when we were only kids. Soaring eagles, fields of barley, this broken taxi is climbing.
For our benediction today, Jim chose this excerpt from the Beauty Way of the Navajo people. In beauty may I walk. With beauty before me, may I walk. With beauty behind me, may I walk. With beauty above me, may I walk. With beauty all around me, may I walk. Our closing affirmation. Protect this community, inspired by all that we share. May our actions carry this love forward into our lives and into the world every day. The service is ended. Go have some coffee. Thank you so much for coming this morning.